Back, it's Talking Bollocks with me, your favourite piece of fucking human bollock, Howard H. Smith. What the hell? What a way to start. Welcome one, welcome all. Thank you if it's your first visit. Hello again if it is your whatever it is visit. This is Talking Bollocks. This is Talking Bollocks with me, your host, Howard H. Smith, singer of UK thrash band Acid Rain, rebooted in 2015. You can visit acidrain.co.uk, find us on Twitter, find us on Facebook. You can find the podcast. Well done, you already have. So you can subscribe. That's a great idea. Please do subscribe wherever you subscribe to get your podcasts. If you listen to this on YouTube, even better. I'll explain why in a minute. And anybody listening anywhere, thank you. Thank you very much for spending, taking some time out to let me shout in your ears. Really appreciate it. So, yeah, do comedy as well. All that, usual intro. Do this, do that. Got to keep reminding people because that's the way things are, I'm afraid. So please do keep telling people about the podcast. Tell them to leave a review on iTunes. Tell them to subscribe, to download. It's going to be, that's... Please do tell them to subscribe as well. And in a much anticipated, well, by me, move, the podcast is going to get some t-shirts, but they're not going to be available via anyone to do the podcast. They're going to be available via Acid Rain. That's an interesting one, you say. Yeah, basically, the Spotify t-shirt that is basically the Spotify logo, but it says Spotify, and on the back says ruining music since 2008. That t-shirt for all of you fellow old bastards who hate Spotify, and there's young bastards out there who hate Spotify as well. You're going to be able to buy that shirt soon. And fucking hell, what I've just done. Okay, I had my tea not long ago. Tea, dinner, whatever you want to call it. I did some finely chopped chilies in a salad, and guess what? Yeah, that's right. Just wiped one of my eyes, despite the fact, yes, I have washed my fucking hands. So those of you out there who've never cooked with chilies before obviously don't know that, yeah, it doesn't matter if you fucking wash your hands, you're still going to get chili in your eyes for a good few hours. So anyway, fucking hell. Oh, God. Chili Eye Smith, early doors. This is the most disorganised bullshit start for a long time. Bloody hell. God, I'm fucking crying here. It serves me right. Oh, you bastard. Anyway, sorry. As you can tell, not fucking planned. Yeah, what you hear is what happens. That is it. In the interviews or in this bit. I can't be bothered to record this more than once, so I leave everything in, and this is why. A little peek behind the curtain. Fucking hell. I've got tear streaming down my face. Anyway, bloody hell. So I mentioned that little bit about YouTube at the front. Guys, the format of the podcast is changing, and by that I mean I'm no longer going to have a song at the end of the podcast. And why, you might answer? Well, or ask even. The reason being is that if I put a song on the podcast, basically a copyright claim is made by the publishers, by the label, or whoever that is, and that's fine. They're quite right to. It leaves my content up. But it means that my content is no longer monetized in any way for me. Okay? So, in other words, if I put one song on the end of a 3-hour podcast, I am not entitled to any monetization that podcast brings in. It is the person who owns the copyright content on the end of the podcast is entitled to any monetization that comes from people listening to that podcast, whether it's 3 hours, 2 hours, whatever. So basically what that means is that if I have not made any money of this from the podcast. That's pretty obvious. I purely do this for the fun, but it would be nice to get some kind of revenue stream coming in. I'm still not working. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Not that I'm struggling hand to mouth or anything. But I'm just kind of looking around at all sorts of different ways that, you know, that I can possibly bring some revenue into my life, and the podcast is one of them. So, you know, please don't feel that I'm trying to rip you off. I'm not. I'm really not. But it just seems silly that if there's a way to earn money right there, to not do it. And for the sake of one song, I just think, well, you know what? People don't... if you're listening in to 3 hours of me gibbering on for a song at the end, then this podcast's not for you anyway, and you've probably fucked off already. And if you're listening and thinking, shit, is that the format? Yeah, it is. So if you don't like the sound of that, you may as well sod off as well. So that's it, okay? No biggie, just no song on the end. I am going to think of how to end that myself, but there we go. So, as is traditional, what has been happening in the world of metal since we last spoke? Got an Acid Rain announcement coming out at the end of this week, and already people are telling us what we should do and what it should be. Brilliant. You should record a new album in analog, and then lists off loads of great reasons why. Let's get it straight, dickhead. We should make an album in analog because you fucking want us to. Just type that. Just fucking type that. Instead of all this fucking bullshit about, because then it would do this for you and it'd do that. And it's like, no, you are now coming up with what I might add are total bullshit reasons for you to suggest this in the first place. Be honest. Put it out there. Guys, will you do the new album analog? Because I like analog. I prefer analog. I want you to do it as analog. And our reply will be, go fuck yourself. Don't make albums for you. Make them for us. We're in the band. You're not. If you were in the band, you'd have a say. You're not. So fuck off. Look, also, the amount of money that it would put extra onto us recording. For a start, we've got to find an analog studio. We've got to find an analog producer. They're a lot harder to find than you would think. It also means we're limited to less choice. It also means the album's going to take longer. I mean, do I need to keep listing the reasons? But oh no. Anyway, so it's not an album, and then people just come out with all sorts of rubbish. It's unbelievable. It really is. So anyway, it's coming out, but actually I think the announcement will be already made by the time this comes out, if we put this out on Friday. So yeah, fuck it. UK tour, but it's more a tour of the North. We're playing Manchester, Glasgow and Leeds, and that's for Christmas. We haven't played, and the reasons being, Manchester always turn out and are fucking awesome and deserve it. Glasgow only got half an hour of us at Lords of the Land, where the rest of the UK got an hour and 15 minutes. And Leeds, because we haven't played there for 27 years, because it's Leeds, so for fuck's sake, it's got to be done. All right? And we've got some old school thrashers supporting us, but I can't confirm that just yet because of when I'm recording the podcast, but it will be out by now, so you can have a look if you want. So anyway, that's not the biggest thing happening in heavy metal, is it? No, not at all. That's just it's just my ego saying that. So we've got to go back a month, and to anybody who's been following the story of the work of all of the Metallica members, past and present, commenting on their relationship with Lady Gaga, and then Hetfield going, yeah, we're not doing that again, which I did think was amusing. Although he had also previously gone on about her wonderful energy. For fuck's sake, that woman and her energy, they can go eat lunch. So I open up the pages of Blabbermouth. I don't know. Well, it's got to be a good month ago now since the last podcast. And what's the story I see? Scott Ian says he wants Anthrax to be Lady Gaga's backing band. Oh my fucking god. Yep, the disease that is talking about this fucking non-event that was Metallica and Lady Gaga happening. The disease has spread to Anthrax. Quite ironic. There's the word I was searching for. Quite ironic that this disease should shift to the band Anthrax. Anthrax being the name of a disease and a band. See what I did there? That's comedy for you. That's why I get paid the no bucks at all at the moment. So yeah. Anyway, look. I as soon as I saw that, I was just. Please, just do me a favour and fuck off with that. But then it's quite embarrassing because the members of Metallica have already done it, and there is quite clearly, as many people have quoted, the big four. Yeah, there's the big one and then a big fucking drop off to the other three. Well, I gotta be honest with you. When Metallica talk about it, it's like, yeah, we done that. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, you know. And then Anthrax talk about doing it, and basically it's Scott Ian going, yeah, she's a real metaler. We've heard she's really into metal. She's New York. She's Jewish. We're from New York. We're Jewish. That's the subtext. He doesn't say that. But, you know, and then basically just seems to absolutely get onto all fours and just beg Lady Gaga to work with them, because they can see those dollar signs flying in the window massively, I'd imagine. It was just sad, really. Who the fuck desperately wants to work with Lady Gaga that much? Not even her own fucking musicians, but there you go. Anyway, Corey Taylor and his statements about the new Stone Sour album. You know, the cool thing about this album and why I'm so stoked about it is that I've been wanting to make a real true hard rock and roll album for a very long time. Okay, so not exactly lightning in a bottle then. We're more back to what everybody expected, which was middle of the road, very poor attempt at Alice in Chains. And it's not even Alice in Chains tribute band good. It's Stone Sour. Let's face it, it's a disappointment. Yeah, it's something to listen to between Slipknot albums. It's not even that for most of us. Very fucking average. But it's nice to see Corey actually being completely honest and saying, well, if that's what you set out to do, that's great. It's just that real true hard rock and roll makes me want to fucking vomit. I hate it when people refer to music that is metal as being rock and roll. It's not fucking rock and roll, okay? Rock and roll is one thing. I'm not criticising rock and roll. I'm saying heavy metal is not rock and roll. And just because you get older and decide to start calling it rock and roll, looking at you, Lyles, looking at you, James, okay? Just because you've got a little bit older and you like to start calling it rock and roll, and because you know a lot of rock and rollers, you might even be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it doesn't make you rock and roll, okay? Fucking hell. That does wind me up. And well, anyway, you know, obviously not going to get happened to me. I'm got as old as I'm going to get, I think. So, who's next up for Howard's scattergun approach to slagging people off? Well, it's going to be pretty obvious. He's been in the news a lot since we last spoke. It is, of course, the one and only Gene Simmons. So, here's a quote from Gene from earlier in the month. We're not going to be able to do this into our 70s, and I'm now 67. We'll do it for a few more years, and then when we think it's time to go, we'll go, and we'll do it the right way with a whole and we'll do it. Fucking notebook bastard. Sorry, that's what I've got it on. We'll do it the right way with a big party. I'd like to think we would do something that rocks the planet, something big and worldwide, and maybe free. Yeah, let me just say that again. Okay, at the end. And maybe free. Isn't that... They are words I'd never have expected to hear from the mouth of Gene Simmons. And I thought, you know what, I've got a new kind of respect for the guy. As well as saying that they were, you know, they were okay and they were cool on a previous podcast, which I wish I could take down. To come out with that, I just thought it was outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And then, oh dear. Then he decides that he wants to copyright the devil horn symbol. And we all fall around laughing. And it's bollocks. Of course it's bollocks. Some great gags about his so-called hand gesture looking more like Spider-Man, and basically people, including me, gave it way more attention than it deserved. So let's fucking not. Something that was more interesting that I think a lot of people might not have noticed, right? American-US comedian Kathy Griffin. Right, where does she fit in? Well, I'll tell you where she fits in on all this. She was, she put I can't exactly remember the tweet. I can't remember what it was, but it was something, or it might have even been a beheaded Donald Trump or something like that. But she was, I've just stuck my fucking finger in my eye again. Why have I done that? Why the fuck? You don't realise how often you might put your fingers like in your eyes or your mouth or whatever. This totally sounds like I've fucking lost the plot here. Bastard. Anyway, look, Kathy Griffin did a horrible tweet about Trump. Then she had to apologise, but she was still getting her head kicked in by the Trump White House. So she went on the front foot and and you can see this on YouTube. She went and had a press conference, and her press team decided to wheel out the fact that worse images than the ones she'd sent out were available on t-shirts by the band. I think she called them GWAR, GWAR, yeah, and Municipal Waste, and said that they continued, these artists continued to sell these things despite, and not having taken them down, and basically it was because they were men. And yet Kathy Griffin, a woman, was given a hard time. Let's make it perfectly clear. They tried to play the sexism card. They really shouldn't have done, because that's pretty fucking stupid. It's pretty obvious why Trump is giving Kathy Griffin a nationally / internationally recognisable comedian. Yeah? Why they're giving her a harder time than Gwar and Municipal Waste. Yeah? I think it's pretty obvious, but she went down a fucking a rabbit hole with that, and I just don't get it at all. Anyway, it's time for our first interview, and I'm going to get straight in there with Bobby Gustafson, formerly of Overkill. Now, yeah, I'm treading a little bit of a fine line here, because obviously I've had Bobby on the podcast a couple of times, very friendly with their camp, and I was offered this interview, and I got to be honest, part of me was like, well, I'm not sure, and then I thought, hang on, have I really come this far to start fucking worrying now about people's opinions and how people are going to take this? I mean, I'm sure I've had people on the podcast and either distant, beforehand or after or whatever, never said anything that I wouldn't say to their faces. So what I said about Scotty and earlier, I stand by that. But anyway, I've gone on a tangent again. Sorry. So I thought, no, fuck it. Let's get Bobby on, because more than anything else, I am one of these people that still sees that as the golden era. I mean, as I mentioned to Bobby, as I've mentioned to the other Bobby before that, I saw Overkill supporting Halloween on fucking Keeper of Seven Keys tour. So, I've been there since the very beginning. And I pretty much stopped, sort of got out the Overkill groove around the same time as Bobby, ironically enough. But look, this is interesting. It's a really good conversation, and I don't want to say any more about it. Actually, let's just get straight on with it, and you can see what you think then. Right, this was me and Bobby chatting a couple of weeks ago. Hey, Bobby.
Hello.
Hello.
There you go.
We're there.
How you doing?
I'm okay, man. How are you?
Good.
Excellent. It's early in the morning. You're a keen dude. 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm liking the work ethic.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, I'm used to getting up at 6 for work, so I figured 3 hours to get some coffee in me, and then I'll be fine.
Oh, cool. Well, look, thank you very much for doing this, man.
Sure, I'd love to.
So what are you doing with yourself these days? Are you still involved in music at all?
I stepped out of it for a while. I mean, I played with a local band in Florida about 12 years ago or so, and that was the last thing I did, and it was just rough doing, local gigs. There's not much of a scene. There's not too many clubs to play down here, and you have to travel. To get another city, you're going at least 4 hours to get something major, unless you're going down towards Miami or something. But, other than, it just being such a pain in the ass to play gigs, I kind of gave it up. So I still always played the guitar, and I just kept getting this catalog full of riffs or half songs. And after being on Facebook, a lot of kids just wanted me to jump back into playing again. So I figured, well, let me just give it a shot now that you can pretty much produce and manufacture a CD, by yourself. I mean, it's a little dated, but it's still, a lot of kids like it. So that's why I figured let me just do it and see what I put together.
That's cool. What do you mean by dated?
It's half and half, because some kids just want stuff for download. They don't want any CDs around their house. But then there's other kids who like to have something tangible in their hand, like the old way where you can look at pictures and read the lyrics and stuff like that. So
yeah, big fan.
I mean, I did the first 5 I just did for download, and it was a big ripoff with TuneCore. They tell you that they give you 99 cents is the sale of the song, and they tell you they give you 100% of that, but that's not true, because they take 30%.
Yeah.
And then to get your money out, they charge you for that.
Yeah.
And then if the dollar is weak, like in different places, you can sell 4 songs and you're really only getting paid for 1. So it was kind of like it was a bit of a ripoff. So I said, let me save these songs, and I'll write 5 new ones, and I'll just put them together and make one full CD. And so far, that's been the best way to go. It's been great.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's good. No, I know what you mean. I mean, I've got stuff out on TuneCore as well, and the Spotify royalties are just fucking pathetic. I mean, they may as well. It's like they may as well not pay you at all.
Yeah.
But
a lot of big artists left. A lot of big artists quit Spotify.
Well, it's unfortunately streaming seems to be the way of the future. I mean, as you said, some people are about the downloads, some people want CDs in their house, but there's definitely a generation whereby it's like, well, why would I want to own music? It lives on the internet, and I can just listen to it there.
Yeah, that's been the biggest problem, and basically that's what I kind of watched happen. So I said, wow, if everyone is just sharing this for free, and we go and spend all this money to record, we're not going to make anything back. So is it really just going to be, a hobby for us, a couple of weekend dudes getting together, drinking beer and writing songs, and losing money at it, which, you do with most hobbies.
Yeah.
But I figured I would give it a shot and just see where it went. So luckily it's progressing, and there's some people, they want to support it because they know that this shit costs money to do.
Yeah.
So not a huge amount, not like we used to sell, but there are a handful of diehard metalheads that'll contribute, which I think is better than having some GoFundMe page. To pay for things. I'd rather give you something first,
Well, I think we're very lucky that we're in a musical community, the metal community, whereby you do have people who are so passionate about music that they will, they will put their money in, and they will try and support artists. And you can't say that for every genre of music.
No, a lot of, especially like say the pop sort of fans, they're on to the next thing after they get sick of you, and then they grow out of it, and it just seems like the metal community doesn't grow out of it. You wind up keeping, if you're true, you keep your older fans, and then that next generation comes up and they're discovering you as well. So it's very few types of music you can say that about.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a great old Rob Zombie quote where he says, there's plenty of music where people say, I was into them, but then I moved on. He said, I've never heard anyone say, oh yeah, I was into Slayer for a couple of summers, but then I moved on. It's like, I've never met that guy.
Yeah, he's right. Yes, it's exactly true. I mean, as long as you're putting out quality stuff, and the band is spending some time to make sure that they're coming up with some fresh and heavy stuff instead of just churning something out every year, because you can't spend the time on it if you're just whipping an album out every year. You can't be a cash grab sort of thing, because people will see through that.
Yeah, I mean, I also think there's the other side of that is, now if you are a full-time band, if you are off the road, you're effectively just burning money. So you almost have to get back on the road as soon as possible, which means write a new album as soon as possible, which means the quality is going to suffer.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to say that, all right, well, prices of tickets and stuff and shows have gone up because the bands aren't selling as much as they used to. But, if you look back at my career, I didn't make any money off of any of our sales. And, compare what we sold then to what bands are selling now, I mean, we would be a friggin' gold album.
Yeah.
But, it's really, it's t-shirt money and ticket price money. And that's, if you're not back out there, again, quickly, people are going to forget about you. And
well, I mean, I played a festival last night with my band, and the merch money is sacred. That is what basically everything else just covers your expenses, and it's you've got to try and be as creative as possible with that. When we've got posters, different design shirts, all sorts of stuff, because you've got to try and make any money you can to keep the band going comes from that.
And that's basically what I did too.
Yeah. Well, something I can't believe that I haven't actually mentioned already is I saw your first ever show in the UK.
Let's see, what was our first show? I think it was either the Hammersmith or Astoria. I
think I might be wrong, but I think it was Manchester Apollo supporting Halloween.
Wait a minute. I think before that we did Christmas on Speed.
Oh, you did Christmas on Earth in Leeds
with Megadeth.
Yes. Oh well, fucking hell, I was there as well. So.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of that on videotape. I think that's when I just bought my camera of everybody hanging out in the hotel. A little bit of the show. For some reason, I didn't get us playing that much. I think I had like the first 3 songs, but that place was huge. I remember it was just a big open warehouse-looking place.
That was that. Yeah, needless to say, that was that was demolished. But because that was an awesome night. Voivod weren't able to get through customs, and which was a fucking real shame, because I was really looking forward to them. And I remember Nuclear Assault changing the lyrics of "Stranded in Hell" to "Stranded in Belgium."
I remember we did the Anthrax and Agent Steel tour first. That was the first time we went to Europe. But that was the Metal Hammer tour, and that didn't go to England.
That's right, yeah.
So I think, the first thing we did probably wasn't even in London, oddly enough, was with Megadeth, and then we came back, and our next biggest tour was with Halloween. So that might have been... Oh, we also did Slayer, too, so we did Slayer... And then I remember we headlined, and I think we headlined the Astoria. That might have been my last show there.
Right. Okay.
That was like a top 3 show for us. We all agreed on that. That one was just amazing.
Oh man, the Astoria. I played it a few times myself. What a great venue. Unfortunately, it's made way for a station now. But what?
I heard that was gone.
Yeah. What an awesome venue, though. I mean, Probably one of my favourite ever venues to play, but also favourite ever venues to actually go and see bands in as well. I mean, whether you're on the stage or in the audience, it's just a fucking unique place. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was just perfect size.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect size. It's just big enough just big enough to get a decent crowd in, and just small enough to feel like everybody's really on top of you.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's gone.
So you obviously you mentioned there, like, your experience with Overkill back in the day, and you were obviously there through the whole major label period as well.
Yeah.
And then it kind of all came to an end, and I don't know, it's quite a while ago now, but there still doesn't seem to be a kind of, I don't know. I consider myself to be pretty knowledgeable when it comes to metal, especially thrash. It's my thing. And it's always been a bit of a mystery as to what happened with you and the band. It's kind of like, I don't know. What happened? I've got no other way of approaching this. What happened, Bobby?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a bit of a mystery to me as well. I mean, it just seemed like the perfect storm. You know, like a few things must have all happened at once. It wasn't one direct incident. I've been finding out other stuff as it went on, but the closest thing for it being the straw that broke the camel's back, so to say, was we were going to do a Halloween show at L'Amour's, which was, our managers owned it. It was that big club in Brooklyn that everyone played. It's where we made our start. And we had just played the Ritz in Manhattan. We sold it out, over 3,000 people. It was like the biggest show that we had done. And we were getting ready to start writing the 5th album. And, Dee Dee had an idea of playing this Halloween show for Christmas money, because that's what Anthrax used to do. And it was like, oh, we can play half Overkill and half covers and stuff. And I'm like, well, if we're going to do that, I said, we can't charge people, the full Overkill price, because we're not giving them Overkill. And I said, Blitz is going to get drunk and we're going to mess up and we're going to look like shit. I said, I don't want to look like shit before we go into doing our next album, especially in our hometown. So we just argued back and forth about that. And then it just came to a head where, I said, don't book the show because I will not show up to it. I said, it's bullshit, and I'm not playing a show for money. And then I didn't hear from him for 2 weeks. Blitz was on his honeymoon, and then the managers actually got in contact with me and said, all this stuff started to come out. Like he wanted to write 6 songs and let me write 6 songs and then have the managers pick which ones were the best, because he felt like he wasn't getting any songs in on the albums, which I didn't realize on tour. He gave me a tape of some riffs that he had, and I listened to it, and I gave him back. I was like, oh, those are cool. But I didn't even write my own stuff on the road unless something came up by accident. So he felt like I wasn't paying attention to his music, I guess, which wasn't the case at all, but that's the way he took it, which was months earlier. He must have been holding on to that all that time. But then, I said, I'm not going for that. I said, I just wrote the Years of Decay. I said, my well isn't dry yet. Let's keep going. Why are you throwing a wrench in this? Well, he wants to get songs on, and, he can't write with you, he says, and he wants to bring another guitar player in the band. And I'm like, absolutely not. And, there was a big merchandise deal that we finally all worked on together to sell off, and we were going to get our next advance, which we all, the 3 of us, because we owned the band before Sid had, he never became a partner, but I was trying to get him to be a partner, but we were all going to make about $50,000 a piece. So Dee Dee actually quit, and Blitz came back and he's like, what the hell's going on? And I said, I don't know. I didn't do anything wrong. I said, he doesn't want to play anymore. So we had a meeting with him, and he's like, we're not making money. I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. Me and Blitz were like, all right, well, I guess we're going to have to grab another bass player. So that's when he turned around and came back, and he wanted me out of the band. So he worked with, the managers throwing all this shit at me till I finally... Did I lose you?
No. I'm right here, man.
I seen something come up on the phone. So he, after all that shit hit, and it was like, he just wanted a cash grab because he didn't want to do it anymore. They wound up getting $75,000. I'm assuming they got the merchandise advance, and they split that money between them, and they just grabbed 2 guys. They didn't probably think the band was going to keep going anymore, but they did. And both of them were able to buy a house, which none of us had money before, so I knew that they definitely got that merchandise money. So it was kind of like a little bit of a coup. They just wanted to overturn everything and put the band back in his hands, which, we were all equal. I mean, it wasn't like anybody, even though they started before I joined. I mean, they were still a cover band when I joined, so it wasn't like, they were this big thing before I got in there. I said we were all equal at the time. We all owned 25% of it, and Rat left, we owned 33%, and now I'm sure both of them, they own it 50-50. And that was that. I mean, I was just like, go ahead. You know, you guys want to make it without me? You know, knock yourself out. I said, I'm not doing this just for money. I said, you know, I want to put out something quality, and I said, the kids will see through it sooner or later. And then I just said, you know, enough was enough. We weren't making any money. We were finally going to make some with that merchandise advance. But at that point, it was like 4 albums in, and we're like $250,000 in debt, and we're not seeing any royalty money from any of the albums. So it's like, all right, well, sooner or later, why are we still doing this? So that's, you know, that's the thing I can make out of what happened.
So when you say you didn't make, So when you say you didn't get any, you didn't see any royalties. Is that, you know, have you looked into that? Is there any kind of, you know, reason for that, or was it just sales weren't strong enough?
We did. I mean, I looked into it. I've spent money. I mean, about 4 or 5 years ago, I spent about $10,000 looking into it. But people don't work there anymore.
Yeah.
Contracts are old.
Yeah.
We just have this running bill with Atlantic Records that never seemed to have gone down, no matter how much we sold.
Right.
I mean, I know we borrowed, you know, $30,000 or so for the videos that we did. Each one of them, I mean, they were expensive. I'm sure we were overcharged. And the album expenses, I mean, back then, it was on the low side to drop $80,000 to make an album.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you spend 6 weeks in the studio, and, you know, you couldn't do it at home like you do now. So, you know, you're $80,000 in the hole before you've even sold one album.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was just sad. It got to the point where it's like, okay, you know, I can't live on $100 a week. And, you know, I understand Dee Dee was older and he just got married himself. But, you know, I was willing to stick it out because I'm like, shit, we just did the best album we ever did. We sold more than we ever did. We were on a tremendous high. And all of a sudden, you know, instead of just letting me do what came natural or what the next progression would have been, which is what my managers tried to tell him, you know, why you throwing a wrench in the gears now? You know, do another album and then see what happens. And he just didn't want to do it. So the result was, I guess, Horoscope, and he had 6 years worth of material he put together. They got my old roadie Rob, and they reused my guitar sound pretty much, and they came out with Horoscope. But then, you know, even they didn't bounce back from that. I don't think they've really topped that album since they've done anything.
Do you still keep an eye on the band? Do you ever listen to stuff when it comes out, or is that not something you're interested in?
No, the only thing I listened to, I had some riffs going, so when Horoscope came out, I gave that album a full listen. I didn't hear anything that they didn't steal from me, and that was my big thing. But sometimes across the internet, I'll run past something, like if they had a video, you know, I'll listen to it. I'll hear some stuff lately. I've been hearing some of my old riffs and a bit of their new material, but I am definitely not interested in what they do. I haven't listened to, you know, a full song that they've done ever since then.
Right.
I just can't even stomach looking at them. I mean, I used to talk to Blitz, but about the time when they took the demos, I think, and they put it on some German magazine free CD type of thing, I had a blowout with him, so we don't talk. I had never talked to Dee Dee since, except for probably about 5 years ago when I was trying to get the lawyers to find out where all this money was. I talked to him briefly for about 10 minutes, and then that was it. That was the first time I had talked to him in probably 20 years.
And how was that 10 minutes? Was it just business?
Yeah, it was awkward. I told him what I was doing. I said, I've got 2 lawyers hired. We're trying to find out why, you know, Atlantic isn't giving us any money and why the price hasn't gone down after all these years of the albums being available. You know, why the price has never gone down. And I you know, we had sent them something for them to sign to say, hey, if you guys didn't ever get any money from Atlantic, you know, please just sign this and we can work on it together. And their lawyer told them not to sign it. So either they were getting money from Atlantic or they just didn't want to be involved. But whatever it was, it kind of just put an end to it. I couldn't keep spending money and not getting anywhere, so I just gave that up.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're still using the old stuff, which, you know, I don't mind them using it, but they're not asking, they're not sending any papers for me to sign, they're not giving me percentages of, you know, they're supposedly coming out with this live Field of Fire recording from last year, which, you know, I don't know where that is yet. But it's just they have not been on the up and up with me on any of the music. And they continue to play my songs live. They have for 27 years now.
Right. So you're entitled to a percentage of songs that are played live, if I'm correct.
Yeah, they're making income off of a live performance. And what are they performing? They're performing music written by, you know, me and Rat on some of the earlier stuff. And you know, if you're creating an income for yourself, that thing that's creating that income is my songs, and I I owe a percentage of whatever. But that, you know, that's a hard thing to even try and get. So, you know, I just don't even bother. So I figured, you know what? I said, if I get the chance just to talk about it like I am now, I'll let people know what they do, and you know, that's enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, you don't sound bitter. You sound very kind of like, well, this is just how it is. You know?
Yeah, I'm like more disappointed in them that I mean, I expected it in some way because I just seen that the way that they had acted towards the end, where everything just turned into money, because both of them had gotten married and I wasn't. I'm 6 years younger than they are.
Right.
So they were kind of a little jealous of the fact that, hey, I'm still at home, even though I was only there a couple of months out of the year because we were always on the road or whatever. I said they were jealous at the fact that, you know, I didn't have the expenses that they did, so I would never understand.
Right.
But, you know, they're grown men now, and they have no honor at all, and I'm just completely disappointed by the way, and I think some of the fans are too, by the way I got treated. I mean, I've got a job now, I'm doing well, I've got my own place, I'm not really, you know, bitter, you know, I'm just more deflated by their actions.
So when you say they're a little bit older and they had more expenses, are your thoughts behind Dee Dee suddenly wanting to weigh in on the writing process that was financially motivated?
Well, sometimes the bands will fight when, you know, your songs are being played on the radio, and it's like, well, I want my song on there because you're the only artist in this band that's making money.
Yeah.
Well, it was different for us. None of us were making money. My deal is I just wanted to write the heaviest and thrashiest and most advanced album that we could at the time. We had to get bigger. We had to stay up with the bands that were doing better than us. So it's not like you have to say, well, you're the one getting all the money because, you know, you've got all the songs on there, you know, and that's what starts a lot of artists fighting, like Aerosmith or something like that. They're all jockeying to get their songs on, but metal isn't like that at all. And that's why we all own 25%, because everyone was going to get paid no matter what. We were like, we were brothers when we were first starting out, and that's just the way it was. But the strange part is that Blitz's father was a lawyer, and I don't know what Dee Dee's father did, but they were both probably the wealthiest out of all of us. I mean, Dee Dee had a huge house in New Jersey. I mean, he had $1 million house in Jersey. So it's like the one guy that probably didn't have to worry about money was probably the one that was worrying the most.
Right, okay. So So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll never know, but maybe not financially motivated. Then maybe it was just an ego thing, a creative thing. I guess there's no way of knowing, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% on it, and I don't think I'll ever be. But I mean, I just brought all the circumstances that happened at that time into what I know, really happened. But I said, the fuse was lit by me not wanting to play a Halloween show at L'Amour's for Christmas money. I mean, that was when the fuse got lit. So, and after that, everything started to come out.
Yeah.
Instead of just discussing it like a man and saying, hey, look, I got some great riffs here. Why don't we sit down and work on some of my stuff, And that never happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no idea. I didn't think he was capable of actually writing songs because he never wrote anything.
Right, yeah.
He came in a couple times with some riffs on Under the Influence, and that was it. He's got maybe 4 riffs on Under the Influence, and that's all he ever did.
Right. So that's bands, isn't it? Communication. If you've got a problem, talk about it immediately. Don't wait till you've got another problem and then okay, now I've got 2 problems and now it's a bigger thing, and you've just got to talk.
Yeah, that's what I always kind of explained it like a girlfriend who keeps everything in.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden everything comes out all at once and they want a divorce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you would have just tackled each problem as it came up, he kept everything, I guess, inside. And that was the end.
Yeah, because you go from thinking in your position, you go from thinking that there's nothing wrong to suddenly finding out that there's a whole bunch of things wrong that you were completely unaware of.
Yeah, and just by one little action, by listening to his cassette tape with some riffs on it on the tour bus, I listened to them and handed it back. I mean, I guess by me not jumping for joy and wanting to work on something, which I didn't do until I went home. When I worked on stuff, it was at home. So I guess that little action probably set him off. I was too much in control. And I think a lot of it too was the managers, because they always said I was able to give them an answer when they needed an answer. I mean, there's no gray area with me. You ask me something, it's either going to be black or it's going to be white. And he said every time they asked Dee something and they needed an answer right away, he's like, I need a couple days to think about it, and I'm not really sure, and blah, blah, blah. Then they come to me, and I'm like, all right, do this, do that, and we're done. And that's why they started calling me all the time. So I think he kind of felt like he was losing his grip on the band, and that that was another little something that came up. So it was it was just a combination of things that finally all exploded.
Yeah. So do you ever still play those songs yourself? Do you ever do you ever go out and play when you're gigging? Do you ever throw in some old Overkill songs that you wrote from back in the day?
Well, I never did until a couple of years ago, 2 years ago maybe. My drummer, just to keep active, he plays in a band called Made of Metal. And what they do, instead of being just a cover band, they pick a specific artist and they do a whole night of just that artist. I mean, they've done everything from Dokken to Motorhead. The next one I think they're doing is Anthrax, MOD, and they did an Overkill. So they're like, would you come up and play? Would you come up and play? And I'm like, I don't play those songs anymore. They're like, please. All right, I'll do it. So I learned, I had to relearn Elimination and Hello from the Gutter.
Brilliant. Relearning your own songs. There's nothing like that to make you feel old, is there?
Yeah. I haven't played them since 19...
Oh.
But it's up on YouTube somewhere, and it just got such a good response from it, and all the views, and it was just like, this is great. And the guy, we can always go out, and if we have to fill in a couple of songs, they're like, we could throw in some Overkill songs. They're like, you wrote their songs. Those are your songs. You can play them. I'm like, yeah. I said I could, maybe somewhere here and there. But I don't want to rely on it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a been there, done that thing. So, but I'm not as opposed to it now as I used to be.
Right. Okay. So you've got a bit of a you're at peace with those songs.
Yeah. I mean, I was even some thought into doing Skull Crusher #2. I've got a couple of like real similar riffs, and I thought about doing something like that, and maybe adding that on to the next batch of songs and just continuing that. I mean, that was all kind of my thought process anyway. So I said it would, I think that would be kind of cool. But it's. I guess if you listen to the new stuff, you can kind of hear the old, because that's just it's me, and you get a certain style, and you got a certain way of writing, and that's you. So a lot of people said they can hear the old Overkill in the Satans Taint stuff, but it's like still fresh sounding. It sounds like a new band.
Yeah.
It's got a mix of the new and the old, which is like kind of really what I wanted to do. So I kind of hit the mark with that, and I'm very happy with, doing what I'm doing now. And if it touches back, or if I listen to an old riff and something new comes off of it, I'll work with it.
So if you're obviously you're writing stuff, are you listening to contemporary thrash, of course, this so-called second wave and all the rest of it? Are you up to date with all of that?
Not at all. I don't know anything that's going on out there. I mean, they'll throw band names at me, and I'm like, who's that? Oh, they've been around for 10 years. Even back in the day, I mean, I listened to the bigger bands. I wasn't just always so crazy about finding the new band and listening to the hottest stuff that just came out, and I just didn't really do that. I'm actually going into some of the Scandinavian bands and listening, because to me they're different than the rest of the metal bands.
Right.
They've got a different sort of, like the bands that came out of New York had a different feel than the bands that came out of Los Angeles. They have that different feel up there. I'll get a wind of something here and there on YouTube, but I mean, I don't like any of the new metal bands. I kind of had that Eye for an Eye band that I did right after Overkill. That was almost way before all the bands that are like the metal bands now that are like new metal. Yeah. I almost started doing something like that after Overkill, and luckily that didn't work, and it kind of stopped. But it's not like they've taken it to the next level. It's just, let me have a skull head with wings on it, and I'll make a band for you.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. So is that so you've seen Avenged Sevenfold's strangely familiar symbol then? Yeah,
I don't know where anyone in their right mind would think that was a good idea for that band to do. I mean, usually your friends will step up and try and save you from making an ass out of yourself. Not one of their friends stood up and tried to help them at all. And they continue to do it after all these years. So I guess they think they invented it. So, but I mean, for Metallica to take them out, I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Probably the two bands that have gotten the most shit thrown on them has been Volbeat and Avenged Sevenfold, and they're both on the Metallica tour.
Yeah.
That made no sense to me when I saw who they were taking out.
Both putting a lot of bums on seats, though. Both selling fairly decent figures, and I think it's a sign of the times that even Metallica are paying attention to who can shift tickets as opposed to just who they want to have.
Yeah, and then I talked to some of the people that would listen to them, and they just think they're the greatest thing. I'm like, oh, okay. Like what you want to like, that's fine. But yeah, I think Metallica does, realize, hey, we're doing stadiums. We got to get at least two bands that people really are paying attention to. So
yeah.
But I mean, there was a point where they wouldn't even have opening bands.
Yeah. I was
years ago.
Yeah, I was. Well, there's a documentary series I'm watching over here at the moment. It's Brian Johnson going round interviewing people from bands about their touring days, and he's interviewed Sting, he's interviewed Joe Elliott, and he did one with Lars a couple of weeks ago. And that covers that whole period, because of course the Black Album, they were playing 2.5 hours a night and no support.
Yeah.
And save on paying your support band as well.
Yeah.
Although that whole thing is completely bizarre now. I mean, it's like the bigger the band, the less you get paid. It's like a friend of mine was like, well, we were looking at doing some. We were going to be opening for a fairly big tour, and he was like, oh wow, so you must be getting you must be getting offered some decent money for that. It's like, no, dude, we're probably less than we would do if we were doing a club tour.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a misconception with people.
Yeah, because ultimately
they don't know.
Yeah, because ultimately, the headliners' management turn around and say, look, do you want to play to 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people a night or not? Because if you do, this is the deal. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, because they know that they'll get another band that will jump at the chance. And I mean, it even turned around to the point where it was like pay to play.
Yeah.
You've got to buy a certain amount of seats every night to get on this tour, And then clubs started doing that. And now I'm starting to see, even record labels, they want a piece of the merchandise.
Oh, yeah, 360 deals. Yeah.
Yeah, they want a piece of the merchandise, and it's like you've got to buy a certain amount of your own CDs to sell at the show.
Yeah.
I mean, I never heard of this crap before. I'm like, is this normal? I mean, is this the way things have gone? And, they don't even pay for the recordings anymore. They wanted to pay more for publicity. And I'm like, well, why am I going to spend 3,000 euros on publicity when you can give me 3,000 euros and I could make an album that sounds great and it would sell itself?
Yeah.
Why are you going to push something that sounds like crap? You're leaving it up to the musicians to spend their income to try and make a good sounding album. And it's like, we may not have that much money or experience to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the better it sounds, the less you have to spend on publicity. So that's kind of turned around a little bit. And, we had a couple of those offers too. And it's like, well, now we've got the internet.
Yeah.
And you can advertise for free. And there's podcasts that are free.
That's right.
All these interviews. We don't have to spend $5,000 to have a full page ad on the back of Metal Hammer anymore.
Hey, hang on. Who told you podcasts were free? I'm sending you an invoice after this.
Yeah, and I got a check for you too.
Great, yeah, yeah. I got your check right here.
But yeah, it's a different world, and I'm slowly getting used to it, and I'm seeing what's going on. I mean, I'd like to go out and tour and play, but like I've told the other guys, I said, there's sports bars here. It's just a regular bar. They have a bunch of TVs, and they show all the sports, and I'm like, and there's a stage. I'm like, well, I want to do something special. I want to come out and do something big, or get on something and, get on a festival where it's just a couple days. You can go out and play and come back home. I said, there's no scene here for us to really just go out and play. It's kind of sad when you think about it.
Yeah.
So we're still kind of waiting to see if anything gets offered in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's. Are you talking about basically doing some, some serious proper shows as opposed to just kind of like, smaller kind of small club things?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be the center of attention, not
Yeah.
that you can get $5 off a bucket of beer.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, can you please turn the TV off while the band is on?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I've done stand-up comedy for 20 years in between doing my stuff with the band, and that's exactly that. You know, sometimes when you're starting out and it's free entry shows, you know, you are just annoying people in the corner of a bar.
Exactly. You know, you get the one drunk guy who walks up to the stage. Hey, could you guys turn down a little bit?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, fuck you.
But you know,
so I said, yeah, you know, we'll get something big first.
But you know what? It's kind of like at some point you do realize as well. You think, do you know what? Actually, we are in his bar. Do you know what I mean? This guy comes, this guy comes down here like every night, and now we're in here ruining his night. Do you know what? If I was him,
exactly,
I'd be pissed off too.
He probably wants to get away from the wife and the noisy kids, and he comes down to his local sports bar, and he's got to hear some thrash band fucking screaming at the top of his lungs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, whoa, what's this? I didn't pay to see this. I've just come down here to chill out with a beer. Yeah, but no, you're exactly right. I mean, it's like, you know, look, there's got to be a name on a ticket. Tickets are going to be on sale, and you know, and that's the attraction. They are the attraction, and anything else just isn't a gig. Yeah,
I thought about it. I wish he had a little bit bigger of a restaurant, but it's a small little rib place. But my drummer works very closely with Nico from Iron Maiden.
Ah, right.
And we do his every year on the anniversary of when he opened, which I think is in December's. He puts a big spread out and a big tent and a stage and a PA, and he has a bunch of local bands play. He has his kids band play, and Jim plays. Patrick Johansson, he's got a band that plays, and some young kids from the School of Rock, they go up and do some covers and stuff like that. I said, you know, maybe next year we'll be ready for that, and that would be kind of cool. But I thought about having maybe a listening party, and he's got a little stage set up. I said, but I think we would probably blast the restaurant out if we went up there and tried to play properly. So I don't think that would happen. But yeah, he might do something again. I think he did something a couple months ago, just before he went out on tour.
Oh, that's cool, man.
And he did little benefits. He does little benefits and stuff for animals and the children and stuff. So you know, maybe something like that where it's fun, it's done proper, and people are there to see the bands.
Yeah.
I said, you know, all our local friends come out. I mean, people from Miami come up. I mean, there's good metal community from where I live to Fort Lauderdale to Miami, and there's just this Spanish, Mexican, I don't know what they are, Cuban metal community that's down here in South Florida, and they're very, very supportive, and they come to all those little shows like that. And we've just all become friends over the years, and now we've got Facebook. So I wish, my drummer always says, I wish we would have had Facebook when we had Response Negative.
Right.
That wasn't around yet, and we just didn't break. So that's why I kind of walked out of that. But they're still around. They just, you know, he plays with them on weekends here and there, you know, gig every couple of months. But for right now, that's just not for me. We're getting T-shirts soon, so we're going to try and sell the T-shirts. That'll round out the money that we're going to use to record next year. I've got a bunch of riffs. I've already got some leftover stuff and some new stuff I've been putting down, so I'm looking forward to getting back into the bedroom and writing some more songs.
Oh, that's cool, man. So how can people find your music?
Yeah, right now we have a page up. If you go to satanstaintmusic.com, you'll see that we have the CD up for sale, and we should have the shirts are getting made right now. We'll have those soon. You can order 2 different styles of shirts, and it goes through PayPal. So it's really safe. Everyone's been having no problem whatsoever. I mean, we've mailed the CD to Japan, to England, to Germany, Australia. I mean, it's gone all over, and there hasn't been one problem. So we're pretty excited about that. But yeah, I mean, I'm pushing it as much as I can, either on Facebook or when I'm doing these interviews.
Yeah,
you know, that's how a lot of people are finding out about it. But yeah, satanstaintmusic.com.
Cool, man. Cool. Okay. Well, look, that seems like a good place to leave it. I'm really thankful for the time, Bobby. Really, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Same here, bro.
And look, when you get the new album out, you know, come back on and we'll talk some more. And it doesn't have to be all about the past. We've talked about the past now.
Yeah, we'll update one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully I can get over there and do. There's been some talk about maybe doing a festival. I was a little too late for this one that just went by in Denmark.
Right.
But there's another one called Alcatraz. Have you heard of that?
Vaguely, yeah.
Vaguely. There's another possibility of that. So I might make it over there one day. So
that'd be awesome, man.
Do one in person.
Yeah, cool. Definitely. Look, Bobby, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And like I said, we'll catch up when you get when the next album out. And that's satanstaintmusic.com.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Make sure I get our listeners over there and checking it out. Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it. Have a good day. Man.
Thank you, brother.
No problem.
Take care.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So there you go. That was Bobby and I talking a couple of weeks ago. Really enjoyed that. He sent me a couple of really nice messages afterwards, and please do get a listen to Satan's Taint. I might even. I don't know. Should I say this? I'll see if I can dig a Satan's Taint song out and put it on the end of the podcast. No promises, okay? None whatsoever. In fact, I will probably go and I'll be able to tell you whether there's going to be one on the end or not within the next few minutes, because I'm going to go and look for one. But anyway, yeah, really cool. And yeah, you know, there's no sort of no big accusations, no drama. It was yeah. I don't think I was expecting anything, but I wasn't expecting that. I don't know. But anyway, it was just cool. It was very cool to just have a chat with him and see what he thought about it all this time later. He certainly seems in a pretty cool place. And as I said, I will make I will make a Satan's Taint song available. I'll try, at least. And I'll certainly let you know in the next few minutes as to whether I can pull that off or not. But yeah, great. So I hope you all enjoyed that thoroughly. Yeah, not so great news. Obviously, right. Last year I did kind of. I had you all along saying, look, there's this legendary thrash vocalist that I'm trying to get in. I might not have even said vocalist, but it was just basically a legendary thrash figure who I was in conversations with his wife. She'd given me his email address. I'd sent him a few emails. He'd never replied, but she said he was up for doing the interview, and I was really hoping to get him on. And that guy was Sean Killian. Now, some of you will know, some of you won't know that Sean is now very, very ill. He has, I think it's stage 5 liver cirrhosis, which is very serious. He basically his body can't what's the word? Can't manage liquid. So basically he basically sits there, fills up with liquid, and they go off to hospital every 2 weeks and basically drain fluid and liquid out of him. Last time he went, they managed to draw 13 litres of fluid. So you can imagine that's not very comfortable. He's really not in a very good way. I due to a friend of mine mentioning he'd like to do something. I am going to try and get something together. And yeah, we're going to try and get something together basically for all of us to try and put a song together to raise some funds for Sean, for his family, for medical bills. So I'll let you know how that goes. I will keep you posted. But yeah, very, very sad. Yeah, it's one of those things. Cirrhosis of the liver. That's basically that's a lifetime of caning it, which he freely admits. It's a lifetime of hitting the booze. The old phrase, "What's the point? What's your poison?" That exists for a reason. It is poison you're pouring in your body. I'm not going to get all preachy here. I drink alcohol as well. I'm not getting all preachy. I'm just saying that it's important that you know what you're doing, you know what you're putting in yourself, and to have a break once in a while. Seriously, it won't kill you, but not might do. So there's a way of looking at it. Moving on to good news for Dave Mustaine. Who sent out this tweet this month. Great news. My sister's doc said they cannot see any leukemia in her bone marrow. It is gone. Thank you for all your prayers. And that's the end of the tweet. So there you go. Scientific proof, if it was needed, that all you have to do is pray over Twitter and leukemia fucks off out of bone marrow, like out of there. Oh, forget radiation treatment. Oh, forget. I should have talked to Dan about this. Forget about what Dan's been going through. I just think the whole thing is so disrespectful to the medical profession. It is untrue. Like, basically any fucking idiot could walk out of a petrol station and walk into a hospital and cure people of cancer the way these people have it. Now look, if you're a person of faith, I do not have a problem with that. I really don't. Okay, but to belittle people's entire lives' work, it's just that is just arrogance and ignorance of a jaw-dropping amount. It really is. Look, if you want to think that these that people prayed and it was all right and it's like Twitter helped, we may as well start thanking Twitter as well. Because if you're going to thank people on Twitter for all their prayers, presumably Twitter got the word out even more. So presumably, thanks to social media, a lot more people are being saved due to praying. So that's another advantage of the internet right there, isn't it? Hey, all I'm saying is, please, if you want to thank God at some point within the list and groups of people who you think have made a contribution to whatever relatives' well-being, that's great. Okay, that's absolutely wonderful. You want to thank people who prayed, that's great, but just make sure that they're in a long list of people who actually fucking did something. Yeah, I think it's Richie Vase who said, I'll pray for you. That is somebody saying, I will do the least possible for you, because it doesn't actually require anything, does it? Whereas actually doing something for somebody, like, actually, no, do you know what? I will help. I will go and run a fun run. I will go and collect clothing. I will go and make a contribution. I will go and do some hours for a charity. I will go make a charitable donation. No, I'm just going to have a quiet word with my special friend, and that's all you deserve, really. That's all you're going to get. I'm sorry, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. No, fuck it, I'm not sorry. It's my podcast, and that kind of fucking bullshit winds me the fuck up. It really does. But anyway, been listening to the Jamie Jaster podcast a lot recently. Really enjoying it. Love his commitment. Love his energy and enthusiasm, for boundless enthusiasm for everything. But especially, I love when he does his shout outs, because literally anything can be like, he did a shout out for he was talking about some stuff, and he did a shout out to Smokey, right? As he was going, yeah, I used to have this dog. I don't know if it was a dog or cat, called Smokey. Shout out to Smoke. Shout out, because it's every episode has got loads of shout outs. He mentioned somebody, shout out to them. He did a shout out to his dead dog or cat, which I just thought was absolutely fucking brilliant. No doubt that cat died hard. But anyway, yes, I just brilliant. I'm working on a Jamie Jaster impression. I reckon I should be able to nick all his listeners, and they'll just think they're listening to me. Probably not. So what else has been going on? Chad, is it Krodiger or Kroiger? Just out of nowhere, decides that he's going to redress the balance after Corey Taylor wasn't very nice about his band in about 2001, 2003 or something like that. He decides to have a go back, and it was just all kind of sort of meaningless, really. But have a look into it. I don't know why I even fucking mentioned it. Right, okay, let's get another interview up, and then we can have my review of what appeared on the TV from Download. Okay, so this is a really cool chat about as old school as it gets. One of the original surviving members from the Big Four. So I've had Tankard on, I've had Destruction, I've had I haven't had Sodom or Creator, so there you go, never mind. But anyway, two of the Big Four. Here is Frank from Tankard. Frank is calling me. Cool or what? Hi, is that Frank?
Hello, Howard?
Hello, Frank.
Yeah, it's Frank. Hi, it's Frank from Tankard. Hi.
Hi.
Howard.
Hello, how are you?
How are you? Yeah, fine. And you?
Yeah.
All's well?
Yeah, not bad,
Okay.
man. Not bad. Have you been doing
great.
this? Have you been doing this all day?
No, it's the first today. You're the first one today.
Oh, really?
Yes, really.
Oh, great. I'm not going to ask you any of the normal dumb questions.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So,
Sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have only 20 minutes because then I have another one.
Ah, well, okay. Well, we'll keep it brief. I sing in a UK thrash band called Acid Rain, who have been around nearly as long as you guys.
Cool.
And we split. I've spent 20 years being a stand-up comedian, and now we brought the band back as well.
Cool.
And funnily enough, we similar to yourselves, we committed the terrible sin of having a sense of humour in thrash metal.
That's nice. But we are not the only one.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you? I mean, has it? Do you think it's ever held you back?
No, it's one side of a coin, let's say. On the one hand, it's really nice because we are a little bit unique. But on the other hand, a lot of people say, they are not serious. I don't like it. It's not serious. It's not like the normal, we are metal, yes.
Yeah.
These guys have fun. No, I don't like it. So we cannot say if it's good thing or bad thing. I don't know, because for us it doesn't matter. We never have danced. We do what we do. So I would never feel good on stage or when I have to pretend to be a Viking in gay clothes. So I feel better with a shirt and my shorts and then have fun on stage. And mostly the crowd is having the same fun like we have. I got the feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Just being yourself, which is ultimately the best image any band can have.
Yeah. And the problem is, there are some people, they cannot understand that having fun on stage and creating fun does not mean to feel or to make music serious.
Yeah.
Of course, we are serious musicians, but that has nothing to do with our attitude.
Absolutely.
Like that, yeah.
Oh, I completely concur. I mean, I had the exact same experience with my band, and like you say, you know, it's two sides of a coin, and just because you like to have fun doesn't mean that you're not a serious musician.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because music is work, of course. Creating new songs and playing every night and having party every night is also tough work. Yeah? And to be back and to be in time next time. The discipline is very important for each band, I think. To have a little bit success, I think the most important thing is discipline.
Yeah.
I think there was a word from Thomas Alva Edison. I think he said all his inventions were, I do not know exactly percentage, but it was something about 10% invention and 10% inspiration and 90% transpiration.
Yes, perspiration. That's the one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree more. And it's something you'd know all about. I mean, it's 35 years this year since you first started out on this journey. Does it really feel like time has flown?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm now 50 years old, and I when I think back, I think, where's the time?
Yeah.
Where's it gone? I feel it was when I remember back. It feels like it was yesterday. Some things, maybe the 80s or beginning of the 90s and so.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I got the feeling we have more fun than in the past today, because we really grown together as a band, and we are really good friends.
Yeah.
We were ever friends, but I got the feeling our relationship got much better in the past. Gets much better and better and better.
Yeah, I think it comes with age, where you start, you let people have the space they need to do what they want to do. Whereas when you're younger, it's very much like, well, we're a band, and if we're going to go out for beers, everyone's going to go out for beers, and if somebody doesn't, then that pisses me off. Whereas now it's, you're that bit older, and it's kind of like, well, we don't all have to hang out together all the time. And if we, if we don't, it doesn't mean we're not a band. You're just enjoying different things at different times.
Yeah, normally we meet just on privately. We meet only on birthday or band activities.
Right.
Like tonight when we have our release party for the new album here in Frankfurt, where I have to go later on.
Oh, right. So the release party's tonight. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's tonight. Yeah, at 9 o'clock German time it starts.
So where are you? Where are you having that? Is that in a bar, in a record shop? Where is it?
No, it's a metal club we have. So the biggest metal club in Frankfurt is called Speak Easy.
Right.
And there we have just sent out an invitation, and everybody who wants to come can come over. If you want to, please, you are invited.
I don't think I'll be able to get there in time.
And so yes, just nothing special. We will play the new album and having some beers with some people.
Well, funnily enough, I'm looking at
nothing special.
I'm looking at a tour poster from 1989 of the last time I was in Frankfurt. We played with Nuclear Assault, Candlemass, Dark Angel, and ourselves, and that was at Volksspiel Dunkensheim in Frankfurt. Is that still around?
What was it? I didn't get it. What it was?
Volksspiel Dunkensheim.
Dunkensheim?
Yeah.
I don't know where it is.
Right. I remember it was like on about a second or third floor, long time ago. Like big run-in with big drunken run-in with the Frankfurt police, but we made it out alive.
Yeah.
So are you going to be going out on the road? Because obviously, I mean, you've been incredibly prolific over your careers, but you all sort of maintain day jobs as well. That's phenomenal. Has that proved difficult finding jobs that will fit in with what you do?
No, we all have totally normal jobs, nothing special. So, for instance, Gary is a social worker. He works with drug addicts, and Andy is a software developer. I'm a mechanical engineer, and Olaf too. Olaf and myself, we work in the same company in different departments. And we have a decision. We made a decision. We play maximum 30 shows a year, and so 30, and this works. This works out, and even our family accepted in the meanwhile. So we all except Gary have the children, and so they have to live with that.
Sure. Well, it's one of the. I mean, for some of you, it'll be the oldest relationship that you have is with other band members. So that I guess it predates meeting anyone. So it's something that's always been there. Damn. Lost him. Right. Let's see what happens, see if he comes back. Yay. Hi, Frank.
Hi.
Sorry.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Lost connection.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Reason.
Yeah.
I'm here with my mobile phone because of this.
Yeah, who knows?
What was the last question? Well, with family and so on.
Yeah, I was saying
how this worked.
That your band kind of almost predates kind of family. I guess it's one of the longest relationships in any of your lives.
Yeah, yes, for sure. My longest relationship in my life of people who are still alive is my mother, and then Gara. Because Gara, we met when we were 6 years old. So we are now a bunch together since 44 years.
That's incredible.
And do you know what I have on Monday? I do not know if you do it in England. So we call it silver wedding. So I'm 25 years married with my wife. That's funny.
Yes, we do.
Also a long time.
Yeah.
Do you have the same? Is it also called silver wedding?
Yeah.
Call it in German? Okay.
Yeah, I think, and it's gold is 50 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
The same. So it's the same. That's cool. Yeah. So also stable, and my wife never knows it in a different way that she's having a husband who is always away.
Yeah. Right. So you met. So how did you meet her? Was that through the band? Was she at a show, or did you meet in real life?
What do I meet in real life?
Your wife. Your wife.
I met her really in the same club where we go tonight for having our release party.
Oh, right.
29. No, in 88. Yes, 29 years ago, I met her there. And in the same club. That's funny, but it was not a band thing. It was just, I was there having some beers and met her in this club. But the funny thing is that she was on some concerts from us before, but when I was at this club, she didn't recognize who I am. That was really funny. And at the end, I told her, yes, I'm from Tankards. She never. I was on 2 concerts of these guys. You are not from Tankards, she said.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, like you pretend to be from the band. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So, are you going to be? Is there any? I know I heard an interview with Mila recently, and he said he tried to get some more of the Teutonic 4 shows together.
Yes,
but
this will not work.
Right.
So it's cancelled for that time because of other shows creators having already.
Yeah.
But maybe we will have it later on in next year or end of this year. I'm not sure. So our management and their management are still working on that.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got 4 different bands and you've all got albums coming out at different times, you're all on different touring schedules. It's very difficult.
It's totally difficult, and especially for us, it's totally different because we are not able to go for 2 weeks or 3 weeks on tour. So we cannot do that. So we have to do it always on a weekend, and so that's difficult.
So
but let's see what future brings. Yeah, let's see.
But the presumably the rise of festivals makes it easier for you as well. So you can, if you're going away for a weekend, you can maybe try and squeeze in a couple of festivals.
Yeah, of course. Although we did some shows together, all 4 bands on some festival.
Oh, really?
2 years ago. Yeah. So that was nice because we know these guys since years. So the funny thing is, for instance, for example, Sodom did their first show on our second show.
Wow.
So what most people do not know that we are older as a band than these guys, but we are the last of the 4 bands who made a record. We were the last to get a record contract, and the other guys were earlier, a couple of years earlier than we. But that's funny. The first show of Sodom was the second of ours.
Well, it's funny you should say about you were the last ones to get a record deal, because I'm at the moment organising some time to speak to Carl Volterbach.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I mean,
greetings to him from my side when you meet him.
I will do. That's love. Well, it's great because obviously there's his reputation goes before him, but you guys seem to have a perfectly decent time on Noise.
Yes, of course, it was nice, and for us it was the beginning. We learned so much. And the funny thing, at the first time, so the problem was with all the other record companies who made them Sodom and so on, like SPV and so on, they said to us, yes, it's not so bad, but your look is not very good. So with strange pullovers and not metal style, and so at this time it was really necessary to look like Schmier.
Yeah. Yeah.
With some gun belts and stuff like this. Yes. And we didn't. We never did it. We started it for a couple of months, and then we said, no, that's not we. That's pretending. We don't want to be like that. We are us. We made a song a couple of years ago, like We Are Us. Maybe that's the story about it.
Absolutely. So so Noise basically, I mean, were they the only label that didn't want to change you?
Yeah, he said, maybe longer hair, and so, and yeah, but we cannot trade. We didn't take any toupees or something. So Carl, you have to handle the scandal. It worked out. It worked. So that was not a problem. Yeah.
Oh, that's great, because I know there's a book on the history of Noise, which has just come out, and I had the author on as well. Obviously, not everybody has had as pleasurable an experience as you, but being your first label and being the only label who were prepared to take a risk on you, I guess you can have nothing but fond memories, because without them, you wouldn't have all of this today.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I look very thankful back to Carl. That's, of course, was always fun. And he didn't drink alcohol. And he told us that he had really a problem with our attitude. Yeah, and especially when he had to pay some bills from the hotel when we damaged it totally drunk. And so, yeah, we were young kids, 19 or 18 years old. That's what you do when you think you are a rock star as a young boy.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a song on this new album about your tour manager as well, which I absolutely loved. I mean, that is just having been in a band myself. I just listening to that and the lyrics and everything else and the sentiment behind it, I just thought was absolutely brilliant. I've got to congratulate you on that.
Oh, thank you very much. It's nice to hear it from an English native speaker that our lyrics are good. It's always difficult for us to make not so many mistakes in the from the lyrics. Yeah.
No, I loved it because I mean, obviously, I write the lyrics for my band, and so I'm always keen to. And I heard the song without having lyrics. And I just, I could see where the lyrics were going. I was thinking, right, I need to find out what these are. So I went straight to the label to get the lyrics, so I could have a good read of them. And yeah, really cool, excellent, really capture the spirit.
Is there any favorite you have?
Sorry?
Is there any favorite you have from the lyrics?
No, it was just kind of like the actual. It was just the actual vibe. And I mean, because I when I initially listened, I was listening without the lyrics. So when I was listening, I thought, I'm not sure. This sounds like, you know, you had a really bad manager at some time who's really really horrible to the band.
Yeah, but it's just ironic because Paul is a good friend of us, and we love him. Really, we love him really, and he takes it with a smile, and he knows how we. This is an old story. A couple of years ago, he came to us and said, guys, we do not get any money this year. It was a very bad year. But if you want, you can come to me and we discuss and I show you my new leather couch. This is really a story. He did it. And this is still that time a running gag from us that he told us, you will not get more money this year, but you can watch my new leather couch. Yeah. That's really good. That's why I said. But interesting thing is, maybe for you interesting about our band, that the majority of the lyrics are written by Andy Bulgaropoulos, who was our former guitar player.
Right.
The Andy before this Andy Gutjahr, who is now our guitar player, of course, and he has had to leave Frankfurt because of his wife and his children, and he lives now in Berlin. But we are still in really good relationship, and he writes majority of the lyrics.
Wow. And
the other lyrics, part of lyrics, are written by Harald, and he's on our backliner, our roadie since I do not know how many years, since 15 years or 16 years.
Right. Okay. So you really
all in the team, yes.
Yeah, you really spread the love around.
Yeah, of course. When you have talented people, then use it, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And completely unique. I can't think of another band. I mean, maybe Flotsam and Jetsam back in the day had their tour manager, Eric Braverman, used to write lyrics with him. But I can't think of anybody where actual ex-members are still actively writing lyrics. That's amazing.
Yeah, for us it's also amazing because Andy has really good ideas and he knows the vibe of Tankards. Anyway, this is very good because he was for, I do not know, almost 15 or 16 years part of the band.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and so and he was one of the oldest members, and so that's really good. We're really happy with him, with that.
That's very cool.
So, unfortunately, I have to stop here.
Yeah, no problem.
Because your competitor from Metal Gods UK, maybe you know him, Sebastian Di Gatto.
Oh, good lord, no, I don't know any Sebastians.
Okay, so I have to call him now.
Okay, no problem, Frank. Thank you very much.
I would go on. It was such a nice conversation. It was not really an interview, but it was just a nice talk, I think.
Yeah. Well, look, Frank. Let's try and have another. Let's try and have another nice talk sometime soon. Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Why not? It's okay because it was a pleasure for me.
Cool. I'm really glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You take care.
Howard. Yeah, take care.
See you, Frank. Bye-bye. So that was Frank and I's conversation. Yes, he rings people up. It's awesome. I've not done an interview like that before, where the interviewee rings everybody up. It was very cool. Thanks to Claire at Nuclear Blast for arranging that. The new Tankard album is out, so get a hold of that. And you heard us talking about it there. It is awesome, and I would play you a track, but I'm not going to because, as you know, I'm not doing that anymore. Okay, so here we go. Watch, download on telly. Here were my observations. Here are some notes. First up, Young Lust by Aerosmith absolutely blew me away. Thought it was a fucking ripping ripping version. Awesome, loved it. System of a Down look old, and the music sounds old as well. Just tired. Fucking either do a new album or pack up. I can't be fucking bothered with you anymore. Soundgarden tribute was very, very moving. Really was. I think they did a fantastic job of that, Sky Arts. I mean, this program is fairly rubbish. The hostess comes across about as metal as a fucking piece of wood. I don't know, piece of wood. That could be a guitar. Guitar's quite metal. Shut up, Howard. What are you fucking talking about? Anyway, well, but look, she's all right, but the interviews are never much of a much. I'd rather just have bands, just bands. But anyway, Devil Driver fucking killed it. They were fucking awesome, absolutely awesome. Alter Bridge, all I have written is meh. So there you go. Sixth, clearly very good. I just don't get it at all. Ministry, yeah, was fine. Yeah, no computers blew a fuse. It all seemed all right. Slayer were fucking intense. And it almost seems like they seem to go extra hard because it's, you know, they weren't fucking made stage headlining. So it was awesome though. Really enjoyed it. Devin Townsend, again, clearly very good. I just don't get it. Prophets of Rage, I clearly do get very good, and the new song as well, Unfuck the World, worth checking out. Prophets of Rage, really enjoyed that, really enjoyed it. Then I received a message from my friend who was also watching this at the same time, for some reason, bizarre reason we found out later, who messaged me and said, and this is exactly what he sent me: how far can Alter Bridge fuck off? We decided that the answer to that question is not far enough. So there you go. Sum 41, yeah, a sort of K-Tel Records version of Green Day. A sort of, you know, yeah, it was all right. Well done, lads. Thanks for turning up. You know, yeah, it was all right. Fat Lip was good. Rest of it was fairly meh. Of Mice and Men. Like an emo Machine Head. They really did remind me of an emo Machine Head. So I sort of wanted to like them and sort of couldn't, which was very difficult. Haxavist, very promising, like them. Ailstorm, please do me a favour. Somebody fall over on a Jolly Roger and get fucking Rogered to death. The Raven Age, I have written one word: nothing. So I obviously have nothing to say about the Raven Age. Well done, Raven Age, you've escaped. And finally, Five Finger Fuck Off is all I've written. So I think that tells us what I meant about that. So that was a nice little interlude. Right, we've got an interview with Dan. Wanted to see how he was getting on, going back to work, and just all of the adjustment from, you know, what his life has been like to going back to how it used to be. And I thought you might all want to hear as well, just, you know, that strange period of adjustment, and see how he's dealing with it. So here is mine and Dan's chat from yesterday.
Hello.
Now then,
you're right.
I'm alright, how are you?
Yeah, I'm alright, thank you very much. How was the gym?
Yeah, man, just pumping an iron, bro, you know. Yeah. Go hard, go home. No pain, no gain.
Shakes as well. Sorry? Are you swigging your protein shakes as well at the minute?
No, I'm not one of those people. I'll do an occasional pre-workout, which is basically like legal coke. It's just so right. It's so full of caffeine, and it says on the bag the least sort of medical warning I've ever seen, where it just says don't have more than one of these a day.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like, take it easy. It's really weird. If I have a little bit too much of it, I get pins and needles in my face.
Fucking hell, really?
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's weird because you want to scratch your face because you feel like you've got pins and needles. But so you do, but it feels good while you do it. It's a weird. I'll get you some.
Oh, cheers, mate. Yeah, yeah. I miss going to the gym. To be quite honest with you, that's one of the things I've really missed doing.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess
I'll get going to the gym.
Well, again, and really, I wouldn't have gathered that to look at you, but
I know, like I want like a meter lifting heavy weights. I used to do all like body weight stuff, so I'd do loads of pull-ups and press-ups and stuff like that, and First time I got diagnosed, actually, just getting onto that subject, like the first time I got diagnosed, I went into the gym next day and just did 130 pull-ups just to prove a point. So
here we go. He's already steering the conversation back to bloody bloody cancer. Come on, get to why I'm on.
Yeah. What type of stuff do you do in the gym then? Do like cardio stuff?
Basically, just to keep in trim for gigs and shit like that.
I thought that might be it.
Not so much comedy gigs because they're nowhere near as tiring. Despite the fact I'm obviously still busily doing them, but anyway, look, how's getting back to work and everything? How's it been? Because it's a lot. There's going to be a lot of sporting analogies used in this conversation, like having been on the bench for so long and match fitness and getting back in the groove, etc. So what's it been like?
Yeah, training montages.
It's time for a montage.
It's I don't know. It's been. I've just gotten back into it, to be honest. I've just sort of got my head down and just got back on with it. And,
you boring bastard.
I know, it's fucking shit. I've started making my own way there again and everything, so I'm
so you're not just sort of rocking up with 12 cans and going, come on everyone, celebrate life.
No, I fucking should do that. Shouldn't I walk in with a fucking 4-pack of Orangeable?
They're not going to sack you, are they? Company sacks young employee who only just recovered from cancer. What a set of bastards.
Yeah, because I was busy trying to tout Red Stripe to all my co-workers and stuff.
I can believe it.
Yeah. Well, we are in Hull, to be fair. But yeah, it's been a bit weird. It's, as I say, I've just gone back in and just got on with it as it's just business as usual again. It's just it's a bit bizarre when I think about it actually. So we've sort of got back on with practicing with 13 a bit more again, and booked in for recording and stuff, and got a couple of gigs booked, and Reanimator hasn't started practicing yet, just because people have been away and John had surgery on his knee and stuff. So
and practicing would mean effort, wouldn't it?
Exactly, and they're all getting on a bit now, aren't they? So.
Hey, look, don't point that torch down my fucking corridor. I'm not going to weigh in on the bunch of old bastards. But that's that. Well, I'm glad. I've got your gig in my diary, and I saw you've added some artwork. Do you want to just sort of briefly tell everybody listening what this gig is?
Well, we're going to be raising money for Macmillan cancer support again. We did a gig last year.
Actually, let me stop you there, Dan. Actually, everyone knows all this, don't they? Just tell us the venue. Just tell us the fucking venue and the date.
Right. September 2nd in Hull at O'Reilly's.
Cool. And
Road.
And just fucking go, whoever you are listening to this. If you're in the area, go. If you're not, hire a plane, get some mates together, go.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about potentially. Like I said, I'm going to try and make myself available as host.
Good lad.
Although I'm self-invited MC. Hello everyone. You can relax. It's okay. I'm here now.
I reckon just like man, a celebrity that you are, I reckon you being there will.
In both senses of the word, small in celebrity, small in stature.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I tick all of the boxes right down the bottom of the form. It's not too hard to reach
you're
up.
fighting the women off with a shitty stick.
I'm fighting them off with a cotton bud, mate. It's dangerous being me, to be honest. Speaking of which, I mean, physically, are you able to just go, "Hey, I'm back"? Or, I mean, obviously, I would have thought there's still times where you sort of, are you still monitoring your fitness, or do you occasionally go, "Whoa, I need to sit down and maybe, I've been ill, I need to take it easy"?
I've been warned because of like there's a couple of the people, because I use the gym at work and stuff like that. So there's a few people that I used to go with have told me to make sure I haven't started going back there yet, but I've started going for like really short runs and stuff, and like I've been monitoring that, and it's amazing how much my fitness has dropped actually, because I was pretty fit beforehand, like and all this stuff, but it's amazing how much my fitness and my strength has gone down. Like, so I've been going for like really short runs, and I don't think it's even like a mile that I'm doing, and I've got to walk half of it. So I used to like do a good 3 or 4 mile run, like really easily before.
Yeah.
And yes, excuse me. So there's that, and as I say, there's things like I used to do a lot of push-ups and stuff as well, and like I used to do like a few sets of 40 and stuff on top of all the other stuff I used to do. And like I struggled doing like a set of 20 the other day.
Yeah.
Just one single set of 20. So it's amazing how much it has like affected my physical fitness quite a lot. So like, and I still come home from work and I have naps and stuff like that just because of being tired.
Yeah.
So it's like a really slow recovery process. But I'm getting there.
At least you've got those goals as well of what you were doing
Absolutely.
before to aim at, you know, the time of the miles and all the rest of it. But I just wondered because it's you know, I think everybody's natural kind of instinct is to go, well, hey, I'm well now, and you want to go back to the way life was before it all happened.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely raring to go. Like I want to get back into it, but I am really having to like rein it in, and like I'm pushing myself a little bit, but I'm having to be careful not to like overdo it. And like other people keep like fucking telling me off, just going, "Will you just take it easy?" and all this fucking stuff. And I'm not pushing myself as much as I could, but I'm still pushing myself a bit, and I'm still getting bollocked for it. So yeah. But
is it something that you've talked about at work at all? You know, is there like do people ask you how you're feeling every 5 minutes? You know, has it got to the stage where you're gonna punch somebody out for asking them how you are?
No, I mean, to be quite honest, my temper has actually gone right out the window at the minute.
Are you still on the steroids?
No, not all. No,
right.
I'd finished them. Maybe I had my last one of those 3 weeks ago. So
right, okay.
Yeah, but like I've started going into because I wasn't obviously I work at the prison and stuff like that. I wasn't allowed to go in to the prison because my office is based just outside it now. So I wasn't allowed to go into it. But I've started going in again, and I've bumped into a few people who I haven't seen, like quite a few of my old workmates and stuff who I haven't seen for like 6 months or whatever. And so they're all asking me how I'm doing and stuff like that. But to be honest, it's nice that they give a shit. So I just kind of appreciate that really, or at least they're putting up the facade for everybody else that they give a shit. So
that's a very good point. I was asking purely from a selfish point of view because
absolutely.
I'm always getting asked similar questions, and sometimes it's quite hard to bite your tongue, but obviously, as you say, it's nice that people even give a shit, and
exactly, yeah,
and also that they're willing to bring the subject up as well, and not just pretend like nothing's happened, which a lot of people will do.
Definitely. Yeah, there's some people. Some people just like completely avoid it, which again is completely fair enough, because I know like it's a weird subject for some people to talk about. Like I remember I told people about it. Like there was a couple of people before. Just after I'd got diagnosed or something, or while I was getting tested and stuff, and they'd like message me saying, "Oh, well done," and like getting through the thing before and all this stuff, and I was just like, "Cheers, I'm kind of not out of the woods yet. I'm getting tested again," and they just like completely avoided that sentence, like I hadn't even said it, sort of.
Yeah,
which is completely understandable. As I say, it's a weird thing for people to talk about. I think.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think if you treat it like that, you put more sort of fear into the concept, don't you? If you just kind of avoid it, it makes it harder.
Yeah.
So I purposefully I didn't use terms like the big C. I always said cancer, because it's kind of like that bit in fucking Harry Potter where they're saying he who must not be named and all this fucking shit, and it's like, well, you're just making it more fucking scary, aren't you, if you avoid it? So I'd prefer to just fucking say it for what it is, and that's But yeah.
Well, I think it's as you say, it's everybody. It's everybody deals with things differently, and if some people are going to feel comfortable talking to you about it, and some people aren't, and obviously this goes back to probably one of our first conversations we ever had about, you know, some people just like go on the missing list who you would have thought wouldn't, but vice versa. But also, you know, everyone's there at the end of it, you know, it's. So what's obviously you've got this charity event. Is there anything else that that came up whilst you were ill that you think, right, I'm going to do that, or I'm going to do this, or you know, holidays, you know, rowing lakes, shit like that.
Well, I was talking about this, like a girl at work asked me if I've like got a new lease for life and all this fucking shit, like the old cliches in the films are and all this fucking stuff. And I was just like, not really. If anything, the reason I kind of want to do more stuff is more out of fucking panic, I think, just because like it sort of it's made me really aware of like the fact that we've all got like a fucking like a finite amount of time sort of thing. So I'm just like, right, I need to fucking get this fucking done because none of us have got that fucking long, really. So it's, I definitely want to go on more holidays and get more gigs booked and write more music and stuff. And like as I say, like I don't know, I haven't really got much patience for like bullshit anymore because I just think I ain't got time for that fucking shit now. You know what I mean? I'd rather people just be fucking honest with me and straight up front so that I can just fucking get on and do my thing and all this fucking stuff. So I think that's one of the reasons why my temper's just kind of gone out of the window a little bit. And yeah, it's not that I've been snapping at people, but it's just like there's a few things that have like I maybe would have had a bit more tolerance for before. But yeah, I think that's what it is. It's more panic than like excitement.
well, it's funny because it's weird because from my perspective, listening to your answer then. When I said, you know, as you said, oh, this girl said, is it giving you a new lease of life? And you went, no. What it has made me feel, and what you described to the, you know, to these ears, sounded like somebody who's got a new lease of life. It's like because you said like no, and then you just described all of this shit that you're doing, and it's all positive, and it's and that panic you're describing. Well, that's that's a motivation. That's do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, fear is also a motivation.
No, definitely.
You know, but if it's giving you that that sort of not kick up the arse even. I know it's just that kind of, I don't know, just a new sort of not a new lease of life. That's a wrong way. Motivations. I don't know. Just things are maybe a little clearer than they were.
I suppose I never really looked at it. Like, as I say, like, I always kind of, like, it's like the cliche sort of thing, like I say, like, you know, like, where you're noticing, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, there's the like, understanding that you're supposed to view things a little bit differently, and I suppose I view things a little bit differently in, like as I say, like just in just the idea that we haven't all got much fucking time left, so I just need to fucking crack on. But so
well, that's a positive, mate. You know, it's, you know, there's if you're a doer, you're always going to get shit done.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know,
I think that's another thing as well. Is like I had, because obviously I had a lot of time to myself and stuff like that, so I spent a lot of time watching things on YouTube and stuff like that, and I came across a couple of people, like there's this psychologist dude in Canada called Jordan Peterson and stuff like that, and a couple of other people and stuff, and read things and this, that and the other, and it's kind of made me like instead of avoiding things that I might have been scared of before, it's more the idea is that you fucking go towards them instead now, because there's also a part of me that sort of thinks, well, I've got through this, and I think I handled it pretty well. There's not going to be too many things that are going to be fucking much worse than this, so I might as well just fucking run at them. So, I suppose, when you think about it, I've got a pretty good new fucking lease of life. So,
you've got to go back and apologise to her now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just say sorry, I bullshitted.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, it was the cancer talking. Sorry, it was the chemo hangover. Nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I'm a nice guy, obviously.
Yeah.
So you back? Are you back? Sort of. How tiring is playing? That must take a fair bit out of you.
Yeah. Well, I haven't done any vocals at all since January, and just because like you share mics and stuff, don't you, and all this fucking stuff, and I'm just like I don't want to catch a fucking gem or something, you know. Can you imagine how rank mic?
Yeah, all right. There's no need to make us singers sound like we're fucking sharing needles, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, to be fair, we almost are, aren't we? We're one fucking step away.
Hey, easy. You have honorary membership into the Singers Union. You're basically a guitarist, So
I'm a guitarist who shouts. I won't really.
Absolutely. So your credentials in the union are fucking, minimal at best. Says me.
Oh, yeah.
Says me. Fucking hell. I'm on the door tonight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Of the Singers Union. If your name's not down, if your name's not down, you're not coming in. If your name's not Dan, you're not coming in. There it is.
Ah, shit. Yeah,
let's get a fucking let's get a rum sponsor of this event going. Going back to tangent, going back to the venue and the gig in September in Hull. I see if I'm still loafing about doing fuck all, so I really should look into that for you because I think there's got to be something. There's got to be something.
That'd be cool.
Do you have any kind of favourite rum brand, or will your new favourite rum brand be the one who go, yeah, we'll sponsor that?
It'll be a bit of both, I think.
Depends if it's Captain Morgan or not.
Yeah, it was Captain Morgan's spiced rum. I fucking love that shit. And then I discovered Old J spiced rum last weekend as well. I've been kind of making up for
Old Jace.
Old J, yeah.
Oh, hang on, Old J.
Yeah, as in the letter, yeah.
Right, okay, that just fucking sounds like... I thought it was Old Jace. I thought it sounded like some fucking dodgy old fucker who lives in a cabin in the woods and abducts children.
Yeah, I'd be up for trying that, to be fair.
What, living in the woods?
Yeah.
And abducting children? Right. You fucking weirdo. Right. If any kids go missing in Hull, you fucking heard it here first. It's Dan. That went off on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, ever so slightly. Yeah, cabins in woods. Fucking hell, where were we? Take us back.
Talking about rum, weren't we?
Fucking hell, yeah. Oh God. So, I really should get on the case on that. So,
cheers, man.
Leave it with me.
Old J, actually, they do a 70% proof rum called Tiki Fire. That is savage.
I can't take Old J. I can't take Old J or Old Jace seriously anymore. That's just the minute you started talking about Old J, I was like, oh, is that another old bloke? Is that mate of Old J? That's next door neighbour to Old Jace.
It's Old J like chilling out with Captain Morgan and Kraken.
Unleash the Kraken.
Yeah, have you tried that? Kraken rum's decent as well.
No, absolutely, yeah. That's and I'm just trying to think. What's the other one? The other whiskey that sounds like a slave name.
I don't know.
There is people are going to be shouting at the podcast now, going, "Oh, for fuck's sake, it's this one you mean?" No, it's a spiced one. That's really annoying me now. I can't remember.
All right.
Oh, that's annoying.
I don't know.
Anyway, there can't be anything more annoying than not being able to remember than listening to this. That must be quite annoying right now.
Yeah. It must be even more annoying listening to people who can't remember.
Than being those people. Oh, that is really annoying me. But I'll have to move on. Anyway, brands of rum. Let's move on. So you still listening to Emperor of Sand?
No, I've kind of just been. I've been listening to a lot of Nick Cave for the past week or two. Actually, I like Nick Cave.
Jesus, so some of the side effects are still hanging around then.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Fucking hell! I can't wait for this part of the side effect to die out, mate. That must be terrible. I've had Nick Cave for a week. Jesus.
Yes. Oh, I like Nick Cave, mate.
Really?
Yeah. And Queens of the Stone Age, they've got a new album coming out end of August. They're one of my favourite bands then. So I've been listening to their stuff as well. I've been going back through their discography.
Oh, I'm gonna really let the side down here. The only album I like is Songs for the Deaf.
It's a class album. That was one of the
absolutely
first albums I really got obsessed with.
Yeah. And it's easy to get obsessed with it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing.
No one knows that riff was my ringtone for about fucking 2 years.
Oh, really?
Much to the annoyance of everybody that knows me. And, the thing is, well, after a while, when you know it annoys people, you deliberately just let it keep ringing, and eventually people are like, "Will you fucking pick it up?" Oh, was it ringing? Sorry.
Yeah, and then you answer it and go, wrong number.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it wasn't. Oh no, sorry. Turns out it's my text alarm as well now.
But I proper love Queens. They're one of the only bands where I can put their entire discography on and not skip a single song. I absolutely love them. So,
all right, yeah. I'm purely a Queens of the Deaf. I nearly Queens of the Deaf.
Alzheimer's is kicking in then.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, if somebody listened to this and didn't know better, they'd think I was the one recovering from chemo and you were the one.
You'd have thought so, yeah.
You would, wouldn't you? Fucking hell. Well, that seems like the perfect note on which to end our chat. But let's stay in touch. I just want to ease you off these podcasts.
All right, mate.
Do you know what I mean?
Wean me off.
Yeah. So maybe leave it a month, get you on in a couple of months' time. See how it is, see how the organising's going and stuff like that. Because I'm sure people would like to be just dip in and out until we can really drop you and forget about you.
Can't come soon enough.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, it's the dream. Well, it's always a pleasure. And by the way, we don't go anywhere. Hang up, and I'll give you the latest about that thing we're talking about outside of the podcast. All right, mate. Okay, thanks a lot, Dan. Cheers, mate.
No worries. Take it easy. Cheers.
And that was mine and Dan's chat, and a jolly interesting it was, both the one you heard and the one we had afterwards as well. Gone through everything, talked to everything, talked to you guys about everything I wanted to. But there's one thing that I kind of wanted to talk about is, as most, if not all of you know, I live in London. And yes, we have had terror attacks, we've had fires, we've had all sorts of things going on. And I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that before the end of the podcast, just to say that I have lived in London for coming up this year, I think it'll be 24 years, and I've never been attacked. I've never been mugged. There's never been an attempted mugging or attacking or breaking or anything wherever I've been. And as for terrorism, I'm going to go old school here. The IRA have caused me more problems since I moved to London 24 years ago than any current top 10 terrorist organisation in the world. I'm going old school. Twice I've had IRA bomb factories found from me just a couple of streets away from where I've lived or worked. I've had a bomb go off within 2 miles of where I live, which destroyed a part of the town that I lived in. So all I'm saying is, I'm not saying that what's happened isn't dreadful, but I know you know that, so there's no need for me to be yet another hand-wringing, this is disgusting, this is disgraceful. Yeah, we all know that. We all know that. So let's stop giving the oxygen of publicity to an organisation who thrive on making people scared by going on about how scary all this is, okay? Ultimately, only a few of us will ever be affected by stuff like this in our entire lives. Whether it's, and most of us, luckily, it will be through a friend or through family. It won't actually be us, but occasionally it will be us directly affected. The point I'm making is that London is a huge, sprawling urban city. The chances of you being caught up in anything, whether it's a tower block fire or whether it's a terrorist act, they are tiny. The odds are tiny. And yet, you know, on Facebook, every single person that everybody knows lives in London. Are you all right? Send her. It's like, Jesus Christ, have you any... This city holds millions and millions of people. I think 11, 12 million in the last year. I mean, it's top 5 largest cities in the world. And I see everybody on social media, everybody going on about how terrible it is. Oh, my heart goes out and all. Really? Does it? Great. But that's not helped, has it? You know, typing how bad you feel about something happening somewhere else in the world and when I say else in the world, you could be living in Southampton, you could be living in Edinburgh, you could be living in Hawaii. But saying, oh, I feel for the people of London, oh, you poor people, don't need it. Don't fucking need it. Don't need you to feel bad for us. Don't need any of that. Carry about your day. Go about your day. That is what this is all about. This is about maintaining a freedom of movement, a freedom of life, a freedom of religion, a freedom of sexuality, freedom of choice. It's about living your life. Go on and do it, you know? And as for these fucking social media numpties going on about, oh, how these people can do this is beyond... It's like, really? You are going to take social media with a couple of sentences about how you can't fathom the human psyche and its strange occupation with murder and religion? Really? You of all people aren't going to fix it? The long-distance lorry driver? Yeah, the guy who drives boxes around, you haven't got the answer? You know, just please, let's go about our day. Let's get on with our lives. You know, if somebody says they're going to London, don't act like they're about to walk next to a burning building. All right? If they say they're going to London, let's not assume that they're automatically going to get bombed or someone's going to drive a van at them really fast. Can we assume that they're going to go to London and they're going to get ripped off? Exactly. Good old-fashioned what going to London was all about. Go to London, get fucking ripped off. What's this? £6 for a pint of beer? You fucking crook. I am a crook, but I think you'll find minus a fucking backpack with Semtex in it. So the kind of crook that you're after. So can we have people just moaning about London in general, moaning about the weather, moaning about how unfriendly people are, moaning about how it's expensive? By the way, all 3 of those, fucking bullshit. But I can't, you know, I'm not going to fly in the face of popular opinion. Well, I am all the time. That's what I do. But, you know, that's because I'm such a heavy metal hero. Not sure where any of that was going. The point I'm making is, please, can we get off the fucking moaning and whinging and fucking wringing of hands and, oh, no one can show enough emotion on social media. No one can send their friends in London enough messages to see if they're all... You're not part of it. It's nothing to do with you. So just go about your day. That's what everybody wants. That's what we want. Come on. Let's get back to normal and carry on, for fuck's sake. You know, I can't believe get back to normal and carry on. I am giving it the old keep calm and carry on, aren't I? Well, look, ultimately, I'm trying to be positive about this and say, please, can we stop now? Can we move on? Can we just fucking keep it positive, keep it moving forward? Yeah, there'll always be bad things happening in the world, and they may happen to people that you know. But when they happen to people you don't know, don't go on about how you don't know anybody of them, but you are really sending your heartfelt prayers again. I mean, social media. What are you doing? Why are all these Twitter and Facebook prayers surely should have put ISIS to bed by now? What's going on? So, anyway, it all comes back to religion at the end of the day, doesn't it? God, you gotta love it. Look, normally there'd be a song to look forward to at the end of my jibber jabber, but there isn't. I've explained why, so there you go. Couldn't find a Satans Taint song, but look, please support everybody you heard on the podcast. That's Bobby with Satans Taint, Frank of Tankard, new album's out now. And Dan and his charity event. Please do get along to that. Please keep listening. Please get people to subscribe to the podcast wherever you can, and please get involved. Tell me that you've enjoyed it. Tell me you haven't. Tell me I'm full of shit. Tell me you love me. Whatever. But just get involved. Get involved in the conversation. It'd be really good if you did. It'd be really cool. I'd like to hear some thoughts on who you'd like to hear from next, and I'll let you know if that's going to be possible or not. But it'd be cool. Anyway, as always, have a great month, Guy. Thank you, Guy. Yeah, just one bloke called Guy. One bloke called Guy listening to this. Oh dear! After what 2.5 years of podcasting, Howard had managed to build his audience. Oh, I can't believe it! I've fucking done my eye again. I didn't poke it this time. I just wiped with the back of my hand. Fucking hell. Right, that is the end of this fucking podcast, Guy. I've had enough. I've got fucking chilly in my eye again. See you next month. Speak to you next month. What fucking ever?